Welcome back to My Nigga News. We are in week 3. Let's just get straight to the story. The first one that I need to get back into, the one that's got me the most hype, is that, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Yes, when I say we are back, House of the Dragon is back. Affectionately referred to by most black folk, as you know, as House of Dragons. But, we just do our own thing, ladies and gentlemen. We are the only people who tell Uno how Uno is supposed to be played. Now, this is just an announcement. This is not a spoiler. You guys can relax. I got 2 things. So if you don't want to know nothing, you should probably fast forward. But I just need people to go, get your girl. Get your, what were you thinking? Get your girl. And the other one is run. Sir, run. You better be gone. You better be long gone. Sir, run now. Immediately. Immediately run. Now, speaking of running, we're going to run right into the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has decided that TPS in a 6-3 vote, which was the case of, this is why we have paper, so I ain't got to memorize all of this. But in the case of Mullen versus Doe, we're back. We're fine, guys. This isn't that serious of a new show anyway. Mullen versus Doe in a 6-3 vote, and we know what the 6-3 vote looked like, of course, decided that the wordage of a law meant one thing versus the other. And that's really what this decision is. Now, the decision affects so many people, but the argument was this. And the law states, and I'll read it, there is no judicial review of any determination of the Attorney General or Homeland Security, head of Homeland Security, with respect to the designation or termination or extension of a designation of a foreign state under this subsection. Now, all of that says what? Basically, there is no judicial review, there's no legal review of the head of this person, of this administration, or the Homeland Security or the AG saying, A, TPS services are no longer needed, required, or need to be extended, or whatever. Now, the debate about this is literally the term designation, because the term designation, with the conservatives saying, "Hey, the designation means everything. We cover everything, top to bottom. It's the AG's decision. He can decide if it needs it, if it doesn't, if it doesn't." But what does TPS actually protect, right? TPS actually protects, and it's 3 very distinct things. And those distinct things are ongoing armed conflict, environmental disasters, and political chaos. I mean, we might need, you know what, another time, another conversation. Political chaos. But these are the 3 things that allow someone to get a temporary protected status, which allows you to come to state, work, pay taxes, and do all the things that you are doing while the determination of if going back home is safe. Now, part of this is there should, and there's always been a review of, have the conditions at home, where home was, changed? Have they changed to the point where we don't need the extensions or they can be removed? And now we know places like Haiti, they have not. We know places like Somalia are still under turmoil, but with giving this decision, it is now not necessary for the previous steps of determining, hey, is home safe? And so you get a situation where 300,000 Haitian immigrants are in danger. 4,000 Somali immigrants are in danger of being stripped of their TPS and being deported back home. People who have built lives, who are, again, paying taxes. They're not illegal. They're just folks who were, home's not safe. But then you have the Dutch, the Afrikaners who are here and they're safe. So part of the argument was, hey guys, this might be a bit racist. And they were like, no, again, racism doesn't exist. Now, mind you, you can look at all the readings and postings and the things that they've even presented in court that showed this massive amount of racism, but nah, it's the United States. We don't do racism. So how does this affect someplace like Venezuela? And I've had this Venezuela up because it's an environmental disaster, and what has just happened has been devastating. Okay, so Venezuela was hit this week by a devastating earthquake, where we are looking at, and we have confirmed, depending on what news source you've looked at, 500 to 1,000 confirmed deaths to this day. And mind you, they're still looking because this just happened. And they were hit by, unbelievably, a 7.2 and a 7.5 earthquake, legitimately seconds apart, back to back. And we haven't seen such devastation back to back since Drake did this to Meek. Meek, it was hard. I was rooting for you, but this one hurt. This one hurt a little bit. So with something like this, one might say, hey, there are folks in Venezuela that needs temporary protective status. And they could come through and say, okay, we'll grant temporary protective status to the people who have been displaced from their homes. And we see that this tragedy is going to take years and years and billions, if not trillions of dollars to recover. Cool. That makes sense. And that's like then saying the AG can wake up tomorrow, go, I think I want to get rid of this temporary protective status, and send them back without going back in and making sure there's a safe infrastructure, there's a place where people can actually pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I know that's a U.S. thing, but I think that's what life should be for everyone, anywhere. And we can talk about political climates all over the place, but I think giving an AG or the head of the Department of Homeland Security such oversweeping power without maybe not necessarily having judicial review, but at least having the review steps mandated to make sure that when they decide that someone or somewhere is safe, it's done more than just by the basis of the color of their skin. And I'm just sick of the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court should not have its political lines, but we clearly do. And here's the thing, guys. I do not believe the Democrats have it all together. I really don't. I never have, right? But I will always, always err on the side of humanity. Again, I just will. Now, if you are sick of this administration, you may not be as sick as the U.S. Air Force Base at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. And what do you mean, Marvin? What do you mean they're sick? There have been nearly 300, 270 some cases, but nearly 300 cases of the flu. The flu, you ask? Why or how would the flu spread so fast at an Air Force base? Gee, I joke here, guys. Because back in April, Captain G.I. Kegsef himself said, we are getting rid of vaccine mandates. 70-year-old vaccine mandates, we are getting rid of them because we want medical autonomy. Now, I would love to believe you wanted medical autonomy, but I know that's not the case. You're just throwing around anti-vaxxer propaganda instead of really wanting medical autonomy, because it looks a certain way, right? And so, anyway, 2 months later, because it's still June, ladies and gentlemen, 2 months later, the Pentagon has restored the mandatory flu shots. What? Listen, if you renege this fast in spades, you cannot be my partner. You got to get up off the table immediately. A renege is grounds for fighting. And in 2 months, they changed their mind. Who would have thought vaccines actually work. Whew. It's not frozen. I just wanted y'all to sit on that for a little bit. And now, what are we talking about today? We're talking about presidential pardons. And presidential pardons, if a president pardons you, you're good. I could go shoot up 35 people right now, and if the president was like, hey, Marv, you're pardoned, it's over. It's free. I'm out. And there's a weird necessary aspect of this because sometimes courts, states, they don't understand what justice is, or they're not actually seeking justice. And so this is where pardons come in, governor pardons, presidential pardons. They come in, the heads of states get to come in and say, hey, this is wrong, let them go. And that is a power that staves executions and all types of things. Every president has used this, right? They usually tend to wait till they're about to slide up out of office, and then they be like, hey, I'm gonna pardon these people. And it tends to show kind of where they stand politically on those lines when they do such a thing. Now, the reason why we're bringing up pardons now is because I think it's extremely important, because the argument has been the DOJ was weaponized against January Sixers. Sound like a basketball team. But January Sixers, the DOJ was weaponized against them. Don't ignore the video. Ignore the news coverage. Ignore the facts. All right? Because none of those matter, because for the current president, they were on his side. And that tends to be the skew of these pardons now. There have been a litany of pardons for those who have donated to the president, and then all of a sudden have gotten pardoned. We're talking about ex-presidents who were a part of the drug trade that they were so adamant about getting rid of. We're talking about someone taking advantage of billions of dollars invested by investors for a product that never even existed. We're talking about fraud. We're talking about the dark web. We're talking about all these people who owe restitution and should be in jail, were set free because of a political donation from a family, a friend, or whatever. And this is where we now get to the problem of certain pardons, because a pardon is supposed to be something of a legal injustice, not do you bid enough or do you have enough in your bank account to be worth my while. And the other part of this is the accused weaponization of the DOJ, but now we're looking at it under this current administration and seeing the actual weaponization of the DOJ. And one of these is prime for the reflecting pool. The reflection pool that is at the Washington Monument has been a huge source of, it's been a huge talking point because it's a joke. $14 million in, and it's peeling up, it's got algae, it looks like shit, right? And the president said, hey, someone went in with a razor or a knife and put a 250-yard gash into it. Well, there's video surveillance at the reflection pool. So how hard would it be to show video evidence of such a accusation? But we don't have that. We have video evidence of people touching the already torn up thing and people putting their hands in the water, but that's okay because it's green. And guess what? You can touch water and it shouldn't be a problem. But this is not about the people, it's about the embarrassment. The reflection pool in this state is an embarrassment to the current administration. It just is. And so you now have 6 people arrested and 7 people issued citations for this reflection pool. This isn't storming the Capitol. This isn't a life or death situation. This isn't assaulting Capitol Police. This isn't treason. This is touching an already damaged product. So with 13 people lined up to be prosecuted in some way, shape, or form, it goes back to the point of what's a crime and what's not a crime. What gets you a presidential pardon and what doesn't. And if you look at this card, I kept it up there the whole time because I think the most important part of this is this card may be kept until needed or sold. and there seems to be a price for it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for banging with us for Make News Great Again. My nigga will be back next week. Peace.